London, 1943. If you look at the newsreels from that year, it looks like the height of heroism. Winston Churchill is holding up two fingers in his famous V for victory. The Allies are turning the tide against the Nazis. We are told this is the war for freedom, the war for humanity. But if you turn the camera lens a few thousand miles east to the jewel of the British crown, India, you don't see victory. You see people reduced to living skeletons, walking the streets of Calcutta. Welcome back to the human scar. Today, we're going to look at a humanitarian crime that spans an entire province. We are going to talk about the Bengal Famine of 1943. You probably didn't learn this in school. They told you the British Empire was the shield against tyranny. But in 1943, that shield suffocated 3 million of its own people. Not with weapons, not with bullets, but with paperwork, racism, and a policy called denial. Let's get the facts straight first. Historians, the ones trying to protect the empire's legacy, will tell you it was a cyclone. And sure, in late 1942, a cyclone hit Bengal. It ruined crops. It was a disaster. But a natural disaster doesn't kill 3 million people in a year. Bureaucracy does. See, the British were terrified. The Japanese army was knocking on the door in neighboring Burma. The British High Command was paralyzed by the fear that the Japanese would invade India. So, what did they do? Did they fortify the villages? Did they stockpile food for the civilians to keep them loyal and strong? No. They decided to scorch the earth before the enemy even arrived. This is where it gets dark. The British implemented something called the denial policy. First, the boat denial policy. The army confiscated tens of thousands of boats from the locals in Bengal. Now you have to understand, Bengal is a land of rivers. Boats aren't luxuries. They are the delivery trucks, the taxis, the livelihood. By taking the boats, they broke the supply chain. They claimed it was to stop the Japanese from using them. In reality, they just trapped the population. Then came the rice denial policy. The government swept in and bought up or confiscated huge stocks of rice to feed the army and the workers in industries vital to the war effort. So you have no boats to move food, and the government has hoarded the rice. The price of what little food remained skyrocketed. The average Bengali peasant didn't stand a chance. They starved. They died in the mud, begging for the water in which rice had been boiled. Now, you might be thinking, surely this was just incompetence. Surely, if London knew, they would have helped. Oh, they knew. This is the part that stings. Officials in India sent urgent telegrams to London. They begged for food imports. They said, "We are facing a catastrophe." And this brings us to Winston Churchill, the man we celebrate as the savior of the West. When he saw the reports, he didn't send ships. He actually diverted ships away from India to stockpile reserves in Europe, reserves that weren't even immediately needed. When asked why he wouldn't help, Churchill's response wasn't strategic. It was visceral. He blamed the Indians for the famine, claiming they breed like a rabbit. He asked with a dark sarcasm that chills the blood, "If food is so scarce, why hasn't Gandhi died yet?" That is the scar right there. The racism that decided which lives were worth saving. To the empire, a starving Indian peasant was a statistic. A well-fed British soldier was a necessity. While the British government was exporting rice out of India, yes, you heard that right, they were exporting food from a starving country. People were dying on a scale seen in the worst human catastrophes of the 20th century. 3 million people. Let that number sink in. That is the population of Chicago. Gone. Wiped out in months. Mothers sold their children just to give them a chance at a meal. Families committed mass suicide because the hunger was too slow and too painful. And the streets of Calcutta were lined with corpses that the municipal trucks couldn't clear fast enough. And when the war ended, the history books were written by the victors. The Bengal Famine became a footnote, an unfortunate tragedy caused by bad weather. We love to talk about the price of freedom, but we rarely ask who paid the bill. In 1943, the people of Bengal paid for Britain's war effort with their lives. They were sacrificed on the altar of imperial strategy. The scar of Bengal proves that in the world of empires, protection is just a polite word for ownership. And when the owner gets scared, the tenants are the first to bleed. This is the human scar. History is written in ink, but the truth leaves scars that never fade.